All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Become one of the players in the palace, man. Join the channel. I'm going to be putting out new content, and this is a new series I'm going to be doing for the channel, man. What we are getting into right now is fantasy football. You know, I thought about making videos about fantasy. Well, actually, you know, just making videos in general. I wanted to make videos, and I was like, to be honest, I love fantasy football, so let's make some videos on fantasy football. So today's video, I'm going to go over the best way of how to really build your team, how to properly draft in fantasy football, how to go about those little details, because the draft is very important. You don't want to lose in the draft. I mean, sure, you can make it up in this during the season, you know what I'm saying? But you don't want to lose in the draft. There are a lot of things you want to take into consideration. So let's just start here. We are looking at basically everybody that you could possibly draft. You want to look at what week your team is in the playoffs. So say if your quarterback is Aaron Rodgers and he is on a bye week during your championship week, you better pray to God you got a great backup, because you're gonna be screwed. But it's just little things like that, you know. You want to make sure, okay, so who am I facing? Like, you know, you want to get everything down packed. Who am I facing this week? Where is these players on their bye week? Is the majority of my team on bye week 8, and I just get completely demolished in week 8 because all of my best players were on a bye that week? What players are currently injured? What players have a history of injury? What players have a very contentious backfield? These things all come into account when you are trying to make a fantasy league. Well, make your fantasy roster. Mock drafts is what I'm in right now. That's what we're doing for this video. We are going to get into how to properly do your mock drafts. You want to constantly get in multiple mock drafts. That's exactly what you want to do, because it's no good just doing one. You need to be able to know where you are in the draft. So in my mock league, we are experts. So I'm gonna join an expert mock league. We have 12 teams, so I'm gonna join a 12-team mock draft. You know, you don't want to necessarily join, if your league is 10 people and you join 12, it's not realistic. The quality of players are more abundant in those drafts, but in these drafts, it's less likely. So who was taken first? Who was taken first? I don't know who's taken first, but long story short, you want to go running back in the early round. Okay, Christian McCaffrey was taken. You want to go running back early on. All right. And what makes sense is you want to see who's going to do the best out of these players. Personally, man, I feel like let's go with Dow. Let's go with Derrick. Derrick Henry is my pick. You want to know the players who are all available in these areas. You want to, so that way you understand, oh, if this guy doesn't work, I can fall back on this guy. You don't want to be set on one person and then for it to just completely be ruined for you. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to have a backup plan. You want to be able to have many backup plans. Wait, am I on a... Okay, in 17 picks. Okay. And that's the thing with a snake draft. If you are early on in the draft, you better be prepared to wait. But if you're later on in the first round, so say if you got like pick 12, you're kind of a shoo-in, because you're gonna have the best first 2 picks, essentially. You know, because if you're pick 12, you're back to back. You get pick 12 and then you get that next first round pick. So you have to be very strategic in how you draft your players. You know, you don't want to let good players go off the board. And just because you got Devontae Adams on the board in the first round, you don't want to pick him. You want to pick him later on in the first round, yeah. If you're later in the first round, you might have to do that. But you know, you really want to get those good running backs because running backs are very hard to come by, and it's a wide receiver heavy league. It really is. You know, you don't necessarily have to worry about a oh dang, I wasn't able to get Hopkins, D-Hop, because you've got a perfectly good Cooper Kupp sitting right there, or you've got a perfectly good Curtis Samuel. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of guys who you can win leagues with at wide receiver. Personally, I love Deebo Samuels. Deebo Samuels is one of my favorites. And normally I would not put my personal preferences on because I know some of y'all gonna be watching this. Hey, that's one personal preference I'm willing to let go. Deebo Samuel is a great player because, for instance, Deebo Samuel is consistent when he's playing. When he's not, I pray he's not injured. But when he's consistent, he's there, bro. He's gonna give you what you need. He catches it out the backfield. He catches it from anywhere on the field. He's in the backfield, in the slot, outside. You know, Deebo Samuel can really do it all, which is why he is a great fantasy asset to have. When you're thinking fantasy football, you want to get those players who can get you those yards, who can get you those points from all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And we've got a lot of guys on the board. But we want to make sure we pick the most solid player. Again, running back is very important. You want to make sure you look over all your options. In this one, I believe Miles Sanders is going to get it done for you. Miles Sanders, I believe he's really going to get those yards. Oh, wait, I'm on the clock again? That's exactly where we're going. Wait, let me look at the guys. Because you don't want to pick a receiver just because they're on the top, you know, just because their ADP is, they got the best ADP, that doesn't mean to draft them at all. It really doesn't, you know what I'm saying? We're still going to hold off on the quarterbacks. You don't necessarily need to grab a quarterback early. People are going running back heavy very early on. So you don't want to miss out on good running backs, or else you're going to be stuck with the bottom of the barrel. And there is an argument to be made. Do you go 3 running backs in a row to start off the draft? Or do you want to make sure you get all of your receivers? At the end of the day, you want to be able to, the key for me also is flex. Who is in your flex that's starting? Do you have a wide receiver 1 or 2 caliber player in your flex? Do you have a running back 1 or 2 caliber player in your flex? It's very key that you look at these types of things. It really is, because say you get a let's go down this list. Say you get a Jerry Jeudy or a Brandon Cooks as your starting flex. I don't know about that, bro. It's gonna be tough. That's why you want to make sure you make the most sound decisions. And even with tight end is it's gonna be a little dicey, because the guys at the top, you know, they're at the top, but then the rest of them is just, some days they're gonna give it to you, some days they're not. We're gonna see. Another thing that you want to look at in this process, make sure you go ahead and queue up the quarterbacks you would want in this process, because it's gonna be very important when looking at players that may be on your radar. And like I said, I'm not gonna give you my guys that are on my radar. So you're just gonna get a select group of guys, you know what I'm saying? And in, like I said, contentious areas, you don't necessarily want to be there. It's not very smart. So for me personally, with the guys I'm seeing, I'm gonna go Julio. It just makes sense. Certain guys shouldn't land where they are. I'm gonna just go ahead and do I want to grab my tight end? Do I want to grab my quarterback? You know, I got Lamar Jackson. Let's go ahead and just grab Lamar Jackson. You know, I'm just trying to make a little tutorial video for y'all so that way people know what you were to expect in mock drafts. Like I said, you're going to have your list of guys, but you're not going to get your entire list of guys. So that's why you have to always make sure you have a list of if plan A doesn't work out, let me get plan B. If plan B don't work out, let me get plan C. Yeah, see, it's gonna be a lot of that throughout the draft process, man. But you want to make sure you get guys that you feel like is going to be able to turn your team around. That's very important. And you want to be able to look at injured guys that are continuing to fall. You may be able to pick up Mike Thomas in like a round 9 or something or whatever. Hey, that's cool. You know, Mike Thomas was a number 1 overall pick at one point in time in fantasy. So they took him. Wait, he up here now. So if you know what I'm saying, if you can get a late round flyer on him, hey, that's cool, man. But like I said, also look at the teams that are not so good, you know, who are gonna have wide receivers play, because you're going to need to score. Somebody's going to need to score points. You know what I'm saying? So whether it be the Giants or the Jaguars, the Lions, somebody is going to have to score. So you want to make sure you look at every team's wide receiver options. You know, look at all of these fantasy football articles. It really does help when you are trying to formulate your team. And then when you're looking at defenses, you just know, obviously, I'm not even finna lie with my picks on who I would personally be. Come on, bro. We going personally, Buccaneers, Washington, then the Ravens. Actually, to be honest, where's the Rams? Because the Rams defense really could be in there. Yeah, so those 4 would be my personal 4 defenses that I want on my team. And then you need to look at kickers too. You know, 1, 2, 3. I like these 3 guys. Well, and 4. But once you see, to be honest, it's tough because once you see kickers or defenses start to go, people tend to just, oh shoot, they click it. They want to get slow your roll. It depends on who's taken. You know, you want to be able to make sure you're getting the most well-rounded roster, so that way you want to be able to put points on the board, win the game. That's what matters. Who's going to put those points on the board for you? You need to really comb through these teams. Just because somebody has a big name, that doesn't mean they're going to do big things. You want to be able to understand that for real. Who is going to get you touchdowns? Leonard Fournette, he's going to get you touchdowns. But is he going to do that consistently? Is he going to get you yards? Is he touchdown dependent? These types of things are very important when you are looking through your teams. And so, see, I have 2 wide receivers. I don't have a flex. I don't have a tight end. Now is the time I need to grab my tight end. I have my tight end now. I have a tight end. Now let's go into the flex and see what we can do here. Like I said, I love Deebo Samuel. That man is clutch. But you want to also look at the other guys. You want to look at the other teams. Who is guaranteed playmakers? And if you don't feel like you see any other guaranteed playmakers, you take a guy that you know is a guaranteed playmaker. My team is starting to fill out nicely, man. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Miles Sanders, Justin Jefferson, Julio Jones, Logan Thomas, Deebo Samuel. That's a really clean team. But like I said, look at the bye weeks. You want to look at the bye. See, I have, dang, that's actually crazy. I don't have any players in my starting lineup on the same bye week. None of them. This looks really good, to be honest. So, you know, it's gonna be tough some days, man. It really is. But you need to make sure you're doing the best you can, and also have that and get that bench going too. In round 7, 8, it depends. Like I said, you may want to start the draft out 3 running backs in a row. You know, so that way you have your backups, you have everybody in place. So that way, if you know this guy's going to have a bad week, you've got somebody to come right back in and do the dirty work for him, man. You want to be able to have the best picks available, so that way you don't have to worry about who you're putting in the game from week to week. You don't want to have to can I play him? Is he going to do anything for me? You don't want to have to deal with that, bro. When you're trying to win a championship in fantasy, you do not want to have those thoughts of second guessing yourself, because hey, bro, it's cold-blooded in fantasy. I'm telling you that right now. We ain't got time to be dealing with all that. And even Marquis Brown, he's a stud, but he's injured right now. So what do? Do you pick him up now, or do you try to let him fall further down? But even then, here where you go, all positions, Marquis Brown is coming off the board next. Let one person accidentally have auto select on, he's off the board. Is it going to be a bad pick for them now? Maybe. But are you missing out on him later? Yeah, you are, but don't necessarily worry about it, man. You got to keep moving, and you got to always stay ready, because these picks fly off the board. You don't want to accidentally let the time go by. You auto pick, you get a bad person that you didn't necessarily want, and now you're stuck. But one rule of thumb I've always learned: never trust the Jets. I'm sorry, never trust the Jets in fantasy football. This season, do I want to trust them? I don't know. I don't know if I want to trust them in fantasy football. That's tough. Never trust backfields with two people. But Zach Moss, actually, I think he was taking over that backfield. Kenyon Drake is actually battling with Josh Jacobs in that backfield, which is wild because Josh Jacobs is a dog. It's very unfortunate, but hey, you want to go with guys that you know can get you some points. Cole Beasley is going to get you some points. Later on in the season, he wasn't doing that as much, but hey, man, we got one wide receiver off our bench, lined up, baby. It's all good, man. If he starts to ball, he starts to ball, and then you can put him in the lineup. If he doesn't, you can keep him on the bench. You know what I'm saying? But we're at that time in the draft where you need to make sure you have these guys ready. And so for me, what I'm looking at, if I want a backup running back off my bench, I've got a few guys, but as a backup running back, by week 9, let me go ahead and get Leonard Fournette. And even then, Derrick Henry by week 13, Miles Sanders by week 14. I don't think it depends. Like I said, it depends on what type of what type of league you're in. If you're in a 10-team league, I'm not sure. You just look in your league settings. Look to see what week the playoffs is going to be, because that's where it's going to be clutch. But we do have an extra week in football this season, so I don't know how it's going to work. But you want to make sure that your star players, you want to have the guys that doesn't have a bye week basically until the end of the season, because that's the most clutch. When you can have a stud play the whole season, you ain't gotta worry about a bye week. Boy, that's beautiful right there. But let's go over our team again. I still have not picked up a defense or a kicker. We are in round 10. So we're in round 10. Let's look at some defenses. So they took the Bucks. 3 of my defenses is still here, and these are 3 of the top defenses in the league. All of my kickers are still here. You want to look at these. Oh, and look at your quarterback. The quarterback is going to be clutch. Lamar Jackson, week 8. None of these guys are week 8. You can get away. That's funny. Who just went? Oh, Jalen Hurts went. That's funny. But you're good, Week 8 Lamar Jackson, so I'm not gonna worry about I'm not gonna worry about him again. What I want to do, I want to pick up the best players. I don't know about these guys. Michael Pittman's good. T.Y. Hilton was bad all season. Yeah. Go tried and true Russell Gage, man. He was a consistent guy. He becomes Atlanta's number 2 wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? I took Justin Tucker. Look, it just depends on how the league and how your draft is starting to shape up, man. You want to win every week. You want the most points. Don't sit there and look at, oh, I need to win this matchup. No, you need points. The most points is gonna get you that win, man. You need to make sure you have guys that are solid, and look at the toughness of your schedule. So say if you want to draft a wide receiver from Buffalo and it turns out they have the one of the top 5 worst schedules, you may want to shy away from a Buffalo wide receiver. I know I'm saying that, and I got Cole Beasley, but I'm just using it as an example. You know what I'm saying? You want to look at all these things. You want to look at who's the shadow matchups, who has the worst shadow matchups, who has the best shadow matchups. You want to make sure you do your due diligence before it comes time for you to actually come to your fantasy draft. Because coming from somebody who's messed up a fantasy draft before, you want to make sure you are on top of your P's and Q's when it comes to fantasy drafting. Okay, let's get our finger off of this button before we accidentally draft another kicker right now. 2 of my defenses are here. 2 of my defenses are here. All right. Personally, I'm gonna wait. I am going to wait. See, this is where it gets really, it can get ugly. It can get real ugly with the running back situation. But depending on who your running backs are, you don't necessarily need backups. Just for those bye weeks, you're definitely gonna need backups, and it can look ugly, bro. We've got 2 wide receivers. We need a backup quarterback. I honestly feel like you can't necessarily go wrong. Let's go Baltimore defense. So my team is starting to shape out really well, man. Like I said. So yeah, we got Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Miles Sanders, Justin Jefferson, Julio Jones, Logan Thomas, Deebo Samuel, Ravens defense, Justin Tucker, and coming off the bench, we got Cole Beasley, Leonard Fournette, Russell Gage, and Justin Fields. It's very solid. It's very solid, man. For a 12 team league, very solid, because the end of that roster looks kind of real ugly, man. Once you get down to it, we're going to need to get a running back. We need another running back. And that's where it gets dicey, man. Tennessee, you already know Derrick Henry's eating up all them. Rashad Penny, I don't know. Chris Carson, he has a tendency to be injured, man. Sony Michel is still there. You've got some guys. Marlon Mack from Indiana. That could happen. That honestly can happen, to be honest. I don't even know who you can even get. That's tough. At the bottom of this, let's see who else. Let's see one other. And then see, in this, that's when we get in here. We got teams that they're gonna have to score. They're gonna have to get points. They're gonna have to do something. Tyrell Williams has always been more reliable, so I'm gonna grab Tyrell Williams as wide receiver. Backup tight end. I'm gonna need a backup tight end, man. Zac Ertz is all the way down here. He's gonna do something. He's gonna go somewhere and do something. So Zac Ertz is actually somebody I would take way later, because he can probably get something done for you. And now I got one more spot. So last spot is going to be a running back. This turned out to be a very solid mock draft. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think in the comment section about my mock draft. Remember, it's not all about names. It's not all about the flash. Who is the best here? Who's the best? It's more of who's going to produce for you. Who's going to put those points on the board for you in fantasy, man. Who is going to get those touches? Touches is very key. Who are guys that are consistently going to catch the ball? Who's not dropping the ball? It's those things that you want to look out for. And you want to look, and you want to also prepare yourself for if a guy gets injured. Lord have mercy, please don't let guys get injured, but it's going to happen. So with running backs especially, that happens. Where are areas where you see a backup getting to playing time because of a running back who has a tendency to get injured? It show. I think these types of things show, man. And what I want people to understand is you need to be prepared. You need to stay prepared for all that there is to come when drafting. You're not gonna get all the players you want, like I said, but you need to make sure you do your due diligence. Where is he? Let's go get Wayne Gallman. So this is my team. Derrick Henry, Miles Sanders, Justin Jefferson, Julio, Lamar, Logan Thomas, Deebo Samuel, Cole Beasley, Fournette, Russell Gage, Justin Tucker, my backup quarterback, Justin Fields, Ravens defense, Tyrell Williams, Zac Ertz, Wayne Gallman. So you see in here, my bye weeks don't necessarily line up. Ravens defense, Justin Tucker, Lamar Jackson. I just realized one of these guys, but you can do that later. You don't necessarily need a backup kicker starting out. It depends on where your bye week is. You don't really need a backup kicker until a certain point in time. But it doesn't hurt to have a backup kicker, but I'm not keeping a back. It depends, man. I'm not really keeping a backup kicker. Like, what are we talking about? But, you know, you want to make sure you're doing multiple drafts. That's what's important. You want to consistently know, where am I at in the draft? Okay, what players are going to be around in these rounds? What players are going to be around in these rounds? That's what's important, man. Consistently, you're building that memory of who's going to be where in the draft at your specific draft position. I drafted at number 2 in this draft. So, you know, I'm going in my draft for my league, I'm number 4. So wherever guys are at, I've been doing my due diligence. I've been seeing where guys are at, and I've been seeing which options I have because those first 2 picks are very crucial. You need to get those on point. If I can't get him, let me get him. If I can't get him either, let me get him. It's what's really important when it comes to this. Like I said, read those articles when it comes to fantasy. It helps a lot. And this has been a very long video, but we're gonna end it there. You know, hopefully I gave you some good advice. Let me know in the comment section what you feel about my fantasy draft and how I did with this one. And be on the lookout, man. Our draft for my league is going to be August 28th at 8 o'clock. So I might be able to get the video up around 10 o'clock, August 28th. So that's going to be the start of the fantasy football series for me, man. My name is Patrick again. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Become one of the players in the palace, man. I'm going to catch y'all later. Peace out.